Alright, folks, sorry about that break right there. Ran out of a little bit of time. We were talking about the Falcons and the Seahawks. Make this a long story short, Matt Ryan's going to have a field day with that Seahawks defense, and Michael Turner's going to run all over him. I don't see Marshawn Lynch getting by this Falcons defense. I see him having a hard time. I don't really see the only person I see really doing much is Sidney Rice, and that's if Tavares Jackson can get him the ball. This Falcons defense can put a lot of pressure on the quarterback when they play really well, and their DBs are actually pretty good. One X factor in this game, you'll have to be careful, Matt Ryan, of Earl Thomas. This safety is a ball hawk. He will hit you, he will find you, and he will find your receivers, and he will make sure that he does his job 110% every game. He continues to give all of himself, and he's played very well this year. The next game we're going to have on tap that we're going to talk about will be the Broncos and the Packers. Now, fans have stated for the Denver Broncos they want Tebow. They want him in on package plays. They want him in some way, shape, or form. The coaches are not giving in. They're not budging. And downtown, they recently put up something on a marquee sign that was telling them that it's time to put Tim Tebow in, that they want him in, they want him to play. The difference is, once again, I still believe that Kyle Orton is the better quarterback for the situation. Tim Tebow may have all the qualities you need. He may have the charisma. He may have the personality. For some people, he may have the religious beliefs. And at the same time, he may have the leadership that you don't rarely see in a lot of people coming out of college. He can lead a team, and he does have that power. But the thing is he ready to be an NFL quarterback? If you put Tim Tebow in on package plays, I believe he will help the team and he will get them some wins. But if you put him in full-time at quarterback, he's still going to need a lot of work. People said that about Cam Newton, but he's shown and proved that that is not the case. Tim Tebow still needs a lot of work, and he still has to continually work. The difference is that unlike a lot of quarterbacks that came out, Tim Tebow is willing to do the work. He wants the time to be a great quarterback and to show everybody that he can be one of the elite guys in this league. The question is, when will his time come? For right now, Kyle Orton has 672 yards and 5 touchdowns, which isn't bad through 3 games, but there are a lot of other quarterbacks out there that are making a lot better progress with throwing the ball and getting touchdowns. So him and Brendan Lloyd are going to have a talk and get together and make sure that they can get some touchdowns on the board, and hopefully Eddie Royal can make an impact. No Sean Marino can get out there and run the ball, and that young defense can get over there and try to stop the Pack, which is going to be extremely hard because the Pack have Aaron Rodgers, who has 917 yards and 8 TDs already this season. His stats are through the roof. They have the one of the number one DBs in the league as far as interceptions go with Morgan Burnett. He's got 3. They are the number one offense in the league as it's standing right now. So they can continue to, if they can continue to keep rolling and try to keep going, Jermichael Finley's going to be a threat. Greg Tinney's going to be a threat. Donald Driver's going to be a threat. Aaron Rodgers will be a threat. Ryan Grant is nicked up a little bit, so he won't play this Sunday. But and I think Clay Matthews is probable for this Sunday as well. But if they can continue to play well and play hard, then nothing's going to stop the Green Bay Packers from going 4-0 in this one. That's what I'm going to roll with. Next team we've got going is the New England Patriots versus the Oakland Raiders. Both teams are 2-1. The Raiders coming off a win, Patriots coming off a loss. Tom Brady didn't make very many mistakes. He just got picked off. They were just the Buffalo Bills last week were just killing him and knew where the ball was going to be and took advantage of that. And I made a mistake earlier. The Green Bay Packers do not have the number one offense in the league. It is the New England Patriots that have the number one offense in the league, along with the number one passing quarterback in the league, Tom Brady. Brady has 1,300 yards already with 11 TDs, and they got the number one receiver in the league in Wes Welker, who's got 458 yards right now. That's a tandem that's always going to be forced to be reckoned with. And when Brady has both those tight ends in there, Gronkowski and Hernandez, and it can be a problem for any defense The front seven is going to have to really step up and do their job. These DBs and safeties are going to have to cover over the top to keep these guys in check. And you're going to have to watch that screen pass to Wes Walker, because once he gets set and that blocking is set, it's almost impossible to stop. On the other side of the ball, the Raiders have the #1 rusher in the league with Darren McFadden. DMC's piled up 393 yards already this year. He came off a great game last week where he had over 100 yards rushing, so he's hopefully going to continue that trend and continue to run the ball for them. They don't really have too many threats at receivers, so I don't see them doing much through the air. I see them relying a little bit more on the running game than DMC and his legs. And if they do that, they could possibly win. But I'm going to have to take the Patriots in this game. I just see Tom Brady not losing after losing another game. I don't see them going into a pattern where they lose 2 games in a row. It's very rare for the Patriots, and Tom Brady is not one to go and lose to anybody he feels cannot beat him. Next game we're going to go on is the Miami Dolphins and the San Diego Chargers. Miami Dolphins are 0-3 this year. It's been a dismal season for them already. Reggie Bush hasn't done much for them. The running game hasn't done much for them. Brandon Marshall is doing okay. Chad Henne's actually looking not too bad. He's got 841 yards and 4 touchdowns. He's got a few picks to go along with that, but they've still got a lot of work to do on the defensive side of the ball. Vontae Davis made a very bold statement, said that, he and his other corner were, best tandem in the league, but it's not showing that right now, so they've got to step their game up and back up their words. And at the same time, you still have to worry about somebody who will wake you up, and that's Cameron Wake. Cameron Wake can get after Phillip Rivers and make his day a nightmare if that offensive line doesn't hold up on the other side of the ball. Phillip Rivers has all his weapons intact. The only one he's going to be missing is Antonio Gates. He's still injured. Vincent Jackson's still there. Malcolm Floyd is still there. And Ryan Matthews is actually starting to show up. He's starting to look like the guy they drafted, and the reason they drafted him out of Fresno State, so that he could be a good running back and be able to try to do something to somewhat replace LaDainian Tomlinson. But you can't replace him because he was too great. He meant so much to that organization and that city. So I expect Phillip Rivers to flourish as usual. He still is an elite quarterback, top 5 in my opinion. He always comes out, he always shows and proves, and he gives every bit of himself, on that field every day. Rivers has 997 yards and 4 touchdowns in his 3 games already. So let's hope that those numbers continue to go up and the Chargers can take this one. That's what I'm going to pick this week. And next one we've got is the Sunday night game. It's going to be the Jets and the Ravens. This will be a battle of the defenses. Of course, Rex Ryan, the coach of the Jets, used to coach the defense for the Ravens, so he may know a few tendencies and things on that side of the ball for a few of the players that are still there right now that he may have coached, so he may be able to use that to his advantage. Although they do have a lot of new personnel on D, and they got a lot of young DBs. They still have Ray Lewis. They still have Ed Reed. So you have to watch out for those guys. Ray Lewis is a consummate professional. He's always been there every step of the way. He continues to stay in shape, and he continues to make big plays and continue to do great things. And Ed Reed, you just have to be worried. When you throw the ball in the air, if it's anywhere near him, you got to be scared, because he'll pick it off, and he could take it for a pick six, or just pick it off and give it back to that offense and Joe Flacco and Ray Rice and Anquan Bolden and Lee Evans and all those guys. So hopefully the Jets can pull this one off. Mark Sanchez has 886 yards and 6 touchdowns, while Flacco's got 810 and 7 touchdowns. So hopefully, both of these teams can do something well. The only thing I have to say for the Jets is your pass defense is looking horrible, so you got to step your game up there. You got Darrelle Revis, you got Antonio Cromartie, you got some good safeties. Just keep working hard at it, and you guys should be able to pull this one off. If not, Ed Reed and Ray Lewis are going to be celebrating because they won this game and going to get ready for the next win. The next win, if they can beat you guys, hopefully not. The last game we got to talk about is a big game. It's the Monday Night Football game. Is the Colts and the Bucks. Now, the X factor here is that the Colts are actually going to start Curtis Painter. When Dan Orlovsky was signed, it almost seemed to be an imminent fact that he would be the starter, but it's not true. Curtis Painter will start this week, so the Colts defense will have to step their game up and continue to play well. Dwight Freeney and Mathis should definitely be able to continue to make it hard for Josh Freeman and Garrett Blunt to get anywhere, do anything as far as on offense for the Bucs. So they've got to step their game up and continue to keep going. And as well as for the Bucs, they've got a young defense, the youngest team in the league. Period. Josh Freeman's going to want to get that ball out and continue to keep rolling. And LeGarrette Blount's going to continue to keep wanting to rush that ball and try to continue to make impact plays for them. So as long as that O-line holds up, they should be all right. The defense is very young, but they still can be they can still be impactful and make plays for them. So they should do pretty well there. They do have the #1 tackle in Pat Angerer. He's got 42 tackles in the league, so hopefully he can continue to up those stats, but get tackles and gets good tackles for losses. A few points that I want to touch on as far as the 49ers and the Eagles. Once again, your secondary has to step up. 49ers, you can't just get picks. You got to have pick sixes because the offense obviously is not going to do anything for you. Things have been a little stagnant over there. Frank Gore hasn't been rushing like he should. So it's going to be very hard for you guys to continue to rely on a passing game. That hasn't really been great, especially with Alex Smith at the helm. It's just hard for that guy. He's been through 7 offensive coordinators in his whole career, so you never know where it's going to go for him or what he's going to be able to do. He every year to change coordinators, you can't expect a guy to continue to fully develop. And they have been giving Colin Kaepernick a lot of the first snaps with the first team offense this week in practice. So there's a possibility you may see Kaepernick if they feel like Alex Smith is on a short leash. I'm going to have to say for the other side of the ball, the defense is going to have to watch Michael Vick like a hawk. If that guy's hand is hurting, that does not mean his legs hurt anymore. He can take off and get out of that pocket, and it's going to be strange to see what happens if they can, if he can wind up getting out of the pocket and making a lot of plays. Typically, the 49ers front seven, like I said, is really, really good. They don't allow too many rushing yards. Pat Willis and those guys up front have seemed to find a way every time to continue to stop the run. Navarro Bowman just came on very strong, and Aldon Smith is an impactful guy whenever they decide to put him in the game. For the Colts, it's do or die this week for Curtis Painter. If he really wants that starting job, he's going to have to play a great game and go out there and beat the Bucs. But he's not going to have to beat them just by getting into the red zone and not getting touchdowns and getting field goals in there. He's going to have to beat them badly. He's going to have to go out there and try to destroy that secondary and try to make sure that he gets the ball handed off right and that offensive line is in sync with him and that the center is in sync as well. Speaking of centers, Tony Romo, you and your center have got to get on the same page. I like how you came after him and were getting on him, but he's got to figure it out so that you guys can have a great game this week and actually be able to try to have a chance at winning. Because if the ball snaps high all the time or it's gone everywhere, or you're saying hut hut and he's thinking you're saying hike, he's snapping the ball before you're ready, then it's going to be a long day for the Cowboys. Same goes for bad offensive line over there with the Chicago Bears. They got to step their game up, continue to get better, and continue to protect Jay Cutler and not have him being the most sacked quarterback in the league, so people can continue to talk about him and say that he's a bad quarterback and that he doesn't know what he's doing, or he's trying to or he isn't getting the ball out fast enough. He's just doing what he can with what he has. Matt Forte has always been a big help out of the backfield, but they've got to get that running game actually going. Looks like Marion Barber's going to go ahead and start this week possibly, but you might see a lot of Khalil Bell, running back out of UCLA, who's actually come on and got a chance to have a nice little role in the offense as of late. For these other games, we just want to make sure that you guys know that these games are going to be hard-nosed games. Everybody's going to play their hearts out, and let's hope that we have a good weekend for week 4 of the NFL. Probably going to see a few surprises here and there, which is normal. We always do. Somebody always beats somebody who we didn't think would happen. Can the Lions put up another 40 burger is a good question.